Hello and welcome to the ShowRatings.tv Pilot Roundtable, a Southgate Media podcast. My name is Kyle Tremblay, and I'm the editor-in-chief at ShowRatings.tv, a user-driven television review website. Visit us online at www.showratings.tv and follow us on Twitter at ShowRatingsTV. Today's Pilot Roundtable topic is NBC's Crossbones. According to NBC's website, Crossbones is a compelling new one-hour drama filled with extraordinary action, adventure, and intrigue, set in a world where one can never be sure just who is a hero and who is a villain. Here to talk about Crossbones is a ShowRatings.tv writer who covers The Fosters, Orange is the New Black, and writes a weekly column called Scene Stealer. Megan Haas, welcome back!
Hello.
Oh, thanks so much for being here, Meg.
No problem.
So we watched Crossbones last night.
We did.
We did. Yar. What are some?
Just stop. Just stop while you're ahead.
Can I not add pirate affectations to every question because that's what I've planned?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long podcast. No, What are your thoughts on Crossbones? Some general thoughts.
Well, it wasn't terrible. It could have been a lot worse. Don't get me wrong. However,
yes,
it could have been a lot better. And I feel bad because reading some of the tweets, like these people have been working on this show for, one guy said 2 years, so.
Yeah, well, this was a show that was originally announced before last season, and we thought we were going to get it on the previous TV season, and then it was pushed back, and then NBC decided to just basically burn them off on Friday nights of the summer. So NBC doesn't appear to have very much confidence in this show, and possibly for good reason.
Yeah, well, I put for a different question. I put it kind of like when you think of a pirate show, you're there unless you're like not on this planet, you're always going to think of Pirates of the Caribbean,
right?
Because that was such a not groundbreaking, but it was so like I don't know, popular.
Oh, I would say groundbreaking in the sense that it showed that pirate shows it made pirates fun. It made pirates exciting. Like this was a whole different kind of pirate movie.
Yeah, and it resonated with
yes,
so many different people, and like so when you think of pirates, you're automatically gonna think of Pirates of the Caribbean and Jack Sparrow. You're not in the first 3 movies, not the horrible ones.
Sure.
So it almost needed more Disney to make it better, if that makes sense. I mean, I got bored, and
yeah,
you know me, I'm that person who like if there's not relationship drama or some sort of really like this is going to be so anti-feminism, but really girly drama, I'm not going to sink my teeth in, but I can still watch it.
But they are trying to set up relationship drama.
They but not. I mean, putting a naked woman in the ocean is not setting up relationship drama. It's setting up me rolling my eyes.
So, respectfully disagree. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, and I totally see what you're saying about more Disney, because instead of these sort of swashbuckling adventures, there was a lot of talk about chronometers and ciphers. And because of that, my very first thought within the first 5 minutes is, oh boy, we found the new Dracula. Because, yeah, right? Like, Dracula was supposed to be this, like, fun vampire show, like a horror show, because that's Dracula, but instead it was a lot of talk about coolant and profit and business jargon.
Like,
and, yeah.
If I wanted it, I almost wanted this show to be on ABC, but obviously it can't be on ABC because it's owned by Disney. But like the past 2 pirate dramas that we've had are Black Sails and Crossbones, and both of them are too focused on the business aspect. And they're like, but no, we have swashbuckling throat slashing, and I'm like, that's great, but like what? Like when I think of pirates, just because this audience that they're trying to get was like 10 to 15 years old when Pirates of the Caribbean came out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was obsessed with it when I was like 10.
Right.
So I don't care if you're making clocks and collecting payment. I want to see like what more of that. And it's such a high budget production as well that I'm kind of like, oh, NBC, you tried.
You tried. Yeah.
Did better than Black Sails. You did.
Yes, and I was going to ask that. That was my next question: is compare and contrast with Black Sails, because they are different, and I do think that this was more fun than Black Sails. I think Black Sails took itself more seriously than this does, and
Well,
we'll get to the John Malkovich performance in a second.
yeah.
But Black Sails was also a landlocked show, which this is, and you think of pirates, you think of like roving on a pirate ship, but both pilots the action took place 95% on land on a colony created by the sort of big bad pirate. So,
Yeah,
so
and it's
yeah,
always like, oh no, the British, and and we're gonna be on the island, and there's always one dominant female character who's like, I'm gonna tell these pirates who's boss, and it's so cliched
yeah,
that like as soon as that girl, they're like, that's Lady Catherine. I'm like, oh my god,
yeah.
okay,
It's it's almost the exact same setup as Black Sails, which is
it
really
is,
unfortunate.
and like with both shows, it like with some like Under the Dome, you could watch that and laugh, and
Yes.
like I don't know if the people, but I don't mean to be mean, but I don't know if they're taking themselves seriously when they create that show. I think they are, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah, oh, they are. Under the Dome is the what I'm laughing at with Under the Dome is that it is so sincere. It's
And I'm just like, do you see what you're making? Like, do you see what this show is?
right.
But like with these shows, it almost it's taken seriously behind the scenes, obviously, and
Yes.
it's almost taken. You can take this show seriously, but if you do, it's just going to be an all right show that you're taking
Right.
seriously.
Yes.
So, but that almost makes it hard to take it ironically and funny.
I think you're exactly right. This show is it's a little too um competent. It's not that
Yeah.
competent, but it's just competent enough to where it's not really enjoyable ironically. Now this is all putting aside the John Malkovich performance, because one person
Yeah.
who does know that this series is a joke is John Malkovich, who is delivering a ludicrous performance as Blackbeard. He's,
Well,
I mean, he's from his wardrobe to his,
I was like, "What are you're wearing? Lime green kimono?
yeah, he's
Like,
wearing
did
kimonos.
you not get the decade information? Like when you got on set? I don't understand."
And as I tweeted, he starts with an English accent and then graduates to a robot accent to where he's delivering his lines like machine gun shots. I
Well,
mean,
the one thing that this show I'm going to completely fix this show for them in 2 seconds.
yeah,
If they made Blackbeard absolutely terrifying,
yeah,
it would have been perfect. I was like, oh, when I was watching, I was kind of like, oh, this guy, he's going to be really scary. The Blackbeard, not. So, like, I was like, if Blackbeard can walk up to a character, not even care who that character is, and completely like demolish him,
yeah,
and you're sitting there like, oh my goodness, this like if element of horror to it,
right.
it would have been like 1,000 times better.
See,
But then the lady in white came like floating through his thing, and Blackbeard's on his knees crying.
yeah.
I'm like, oh man.
See, my recipe for fixing this show is John Malkovich on screen 100% of the time. I want Malkovich to explore the studio space. I want him to be in every scene. And the problem with this pilot is he was on screen for maybe 10 minutes, and the majority of it is Richard Coyle, who people will know from one of those USA dramas that I have forgotten.
One of those 1,000 USA dramas.
Yeah, they're all kind of the same to
One
me.
of them.
Um, I'll look up the name. But he, he's not doing a bad job. I don't want to criticize Richard Coyle, but he's not having fun with the material. He's playing it very
Yeah.
straight, and more power to him for doing that. But he's not like it's not like Malkovich, where he knows this show is ridiculous and he's just enjoying himself. And I kind of wish that both the leads were on the same page. Like if Coyle was trying to out Malkovich, this could be the Under the Dome of NBC. But
Well,
yeah, instead, again, it's a little too serious.
I'm watching it and I'm sitting here like, it would help if these people, like, I don't know, it would, because the actors are not doing a bad job. They're not. And the sets are great and like everything's really good. And then you get to the story
Yes.
And you're like, everybody came together, and then it was like one person was like, "Oh, we're making a TV show. Sorry, I forgot."
Yeah.
I'm like,
It,
it was just, and then it was a very cliched story because not only do you have these characters that you're like, I've seen them, whatever, but you've got this like, we're gonna kill Blackbeard, and they
oh,
could have killed Blackbeard. They could
yes.
have. He was right there, but you needed a TV show, and it was so painfully obvious that they were like, wait a minute, the premise in the pilot. So
Yeah.
make them frenemies and he's trying to kill him. And it's obvious that he's gonna, I've got to kill Blackbeard, which I really don't understand why he needed to kill Blackbeard because it was really a really complex, unnecessarily complex pilot.
Yes, this was a tangled web of story.
And it's
And
like it didn't need to be like their
oh,
main goal was to kill this guy who everybody thought was already dead. So really they didn't really need to resurrect him and they could have quietly gone and killed him.
yes.
And that's why this is not working because they could have done that.
Well, they needed it. Well, according to the story, so they this entire pilot is about the Richard Coyle character who is from Covert Affairs, as I just googled. Sorry, Richard Coyle fans. Um, he is an assassin sent undercover on a pirate ship as a surgeon. And so he is his mission is to assassinate Blackbeard and to prevent Blackbeard from getting his hands on this chronometer, which is like the navigational tool that will redefine how shipping works. Like you won't lose ships at sea anymore because you'll have perfect navigation. And to reproduce the chronometer, you need the cipher, which is a sheet of paper that tells you how the chronometer works. I'm doing all this from memory, by the way. I'm really trying.
Well,
Um,
it sounds like all right, we're gonna make Pirates of the Caribbean meets National Treasure. However, we're not gonna have any of the cool aspects of either of
yes.
those
Well,
shows.
last night you compared this to Nicolas Cage, and I thought that was
Because he
perfect.
was like, we need to kill Blackbeard. And I'm like, Nicolas Cage somewhere was just like, I need to kill Blackbeard.
Yes. Yeah, and and what this was missing was that what Nicolas Cage brings, that sense of lunacy. Malkovich is bringing it, but Coyle is playing his part very straight, like he's a serious TV actor, and that's fine. But we needed that Nicolas Cage at the center of it. But I mean, I was explaining all those plot points to say like. Why is the chronometer involved? Like why isn't this just you were sent to assassinate Blackbeard? Because then at the end, after the entire palace devoted to assassinating Blackbeard, and the main character Richard Coyle does do it, and he gets him. He poisons the pages of his book. He assassinates Blackbeard,
Yes.
and then
And
he
then he
just
saves him.
yeah, and well, he just happens to stumble upon a meeting between the Spanish and the pirates, and within 15
Spanish.
seconds is like, oh my gosh, we have to save Blackbeard because we have to learn what the relationship is between the Spanish and the pirates, and then so he busts back in and saves Blackbeard. It's one of the all-time contrivances I've ever seen on television.
But like,
Yeah, it's horrible.
but it's like, why? Like, the premise of this show should have been we need to kill Blackbeard because he's pretty much the worst human being in the world.
Yeah,
If that was the premise, it would have been interesting. And NBC is not shying away from gore this season. I mean, having Hannibal and then this following Hannibal, like everybody's killing each other, everybody's slitting each other's throats, and we're not shying away from any of it.
yes,
So why did we need the cipher? Like if
yeah.
I wanted to watch things about ciphers and I'd watch Big Bang Theory, which I do, and I don't really want to watch a serious show about a cipher. Like
Yeah.
I don't care. So like if Blackbeard was going around like killing women and children, as horrible as that sounds,
No,
it
yeah.
would give you a reason to be like, maybe we should stop this guy
Well,
from like ruining humanity. We
and
thought he was dead, but like Jack the Ripper, maybe he's really not dead. Like that should have been the premise.
well, and the other thing is, you're really taking the fangs out of the character when the very first assassination attempt on him is successful. Like,
Yes.
it's very hard to be afraid of Blackbeard. I know what they're going for with Blackbeard. They're trying to
Yeah.
make him a sort of likable, kind of like Hannibal, where for 90% of Hannibal, the screen time of the NBC show Hannibal, Dr. Lecter is like completely genial and courteous, and he's a great cook. But
Yeah.
you always know there's this dark side lurking underneath And
because he's eating
yeah,
people.
because he's eating people, right? But that's, like that's sort of how they're trying to go with Blackbeard, where he's
Yet
this,
they're trying to make him a friendly villain,
right? But
a
then,
villain that you like.
yeah, but then he can also slit someone's throat. But the
Yeah,
problem is, it's not that scary if the first assassination attempt works,
it's
and he has to be saved by the main character for a completely unrelated reason.
like it would work. I think I tweeted like I really want to see a dinner party between Hannibal and Blackbeard,
Oh
but
yeah,
one look at Hannibal and Blackbeard would like pee himself and die.
yeah,
Like there's just no balance with him. So
yeah.
I feel like yeah, they needed to make him scarier. And I said that from the beginning. Like he has a face that could be could be terrifying. He
Well,
has
John
this,
Malkovich definitely
yeah,
could be a villain. I mean, he can. Yeah, he's done it in countless movies. But he's
yeah,
really. I
and
mean, this is a vintage Malkovich performance. He's eating up the material, but yeah, the chronometer stuff and all that just makes it more silly than scary.
I don't even know if it's more silly. It made me go, all right, where's my to-do list? Let me like get something done while they're talking about things that I don't understand.
So I already gave my Dracula comparison. This to me plays like Dracula, and it's a little bit better than Dracula because it's not completely off the reservation. It's more boring than just outright bad the way Dracula is. Do you have any comparisons for this show? Like if someone might like one show, they would like this.
No.
I mean, Black Sails, right? Would be the obvious
Well,
one.
I mean, like I'm looking at this show in the grand scheme of it that we're now in this strange not fantasy. What kind of fantasy? We're in this like fantasy old timey theme right now. I mean,
Yeah.
all these really good shows right now are either horror, fantasy, or not current.
Yes.
And so this kind of tries to do all of them, but fails.
Doesn't
I
do
don't
any.
fails. I want to say like I don't know if I will personally watch the second episode, but it might be one of those shows that like just really failed at the pilot and is a really good second episode, but I highly doubt it.
Uh,
It's got a death slot and it's in summer TV and it premiered during a really slow week.
yeah.
So
And according to critics who have seen the first three, I think Malkovich is in the next two episodes even less. So
good.
we're just gonna really burrow into the Richard Coyle story, which is the least interesting part of the show, and so I am not gonna watch this going forward.
I saw the promo for next week, and Blackbeard's proposing to somebody. Blackbeard does not propose to somebody. Blackbeard's a pirate.
all right, Meg. Thumbs up or thumbs down on NBC's Crossbones?
Mm, some thumbs down.
Thumbs down for me as well. Yeah. So okay, thank you for being here, Meg. How can we keep up with you?
Oh, that rant. If you still want to hear me rant, go to Twitter at meggh11 or on show ratings.
Yes, absolutely. And people can read your weekly column where you take one scene from each week and break it down.
Yeah, this week will definitely be Crossbones.
There's not a whole lot of competition, so that's good for Crossbones. All right, well, that concludes this episode of the ShowRatings.tv Pilot Roundtable. We invite you to check out this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts at southgatemediagroup.com and to read about, rate, and discuss all your favorite shows at ShowRatings.tv. You can follow me on Twitter at KyleLovesTV, Meg at MEGGH11, and Show Ratings at Show Ratings TV. Until next time, this has been Kyle Tremblay. Thanks for listening.